If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that I am a fan of compressor style dive watches. A while back I was able to purchase one. It's my Alpina Sea Strong Diver Heritage, and I absolutely love that piece. It's one of my most favorite watches in all of my collection. It's really a beautiful vintage inspired compressor style dive watch. And I'm excited today in this video to show you another compressor style dive watch from a micro brand out of Australia called Second Hour Watches. They're going to be releasing this watch sometime in September. This is a prototype, but they're calling it the Giant Stride. And you have to see this dial up close and personal. It's just really stunning. So I'm excited to show you this watch in all of its glory and all of its detail in this full review video. So thank you for stopping by. Let's jump right in. Alright, here it is, the Giant Stride from Second Hour Watches. We're just going to jump right into the specs and features of this piece. The movement that is used is the Sellita SW200. Crystal is sapphire with AR coating. Case material is stainless steel, and there will be a hardness treatment that is applied to all of the stainless steel components of this watch on the production models. Case diameter is 42 millimeters. Case thickness came in to be 12.7 millimeters. Lug to lug 46.7, but then I measured at the protrusion of these links to be 49.4 millimeters. Lug width 20 millimeters. Band material is stainless steel. Water resistance is 200 meters. And I weighed this watch to be 173 grams with all of the links that they provided for the bracelet. Now there's a couple different prices for this watch. There's a launch price of $615 US, and that is limited to 350 pieces. And then the retail price will be $725 USD. The release date has yet to be specified and set in stone, but it will be sometime in September, so please stay tuned. All of their websites will be down below so you can keep up with them if you're interested in this watch. But what are my first and initial thoughts of this piece, having spent a little over a week with it? I have worn it, and it has definitely felt comfortable and enjoyable to wear on my wrist. I really enjoyed my time with this piece. I am drawn to this watch simply because it's a compressor, but also because of the unique dial that is here with the multiple textures and finishes that are going on. That is something that really draws me to this piece, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the full review. So this watch that I have in is actually a prototype model. I want you to keep that in mind for this video. The production models will be going through a number of changes, and I'm going to try and make mention of those as we go throughout the video today. Let's start off by talking about the case. The case is really nicely finished. It's mostly brushed. You do get some polishing here on these down-turned lugs. You get some polishing on the inside of the lugs as well, as you can see. And you do get some polishing on the top of this outer bezel as well. But most of the watch is brushed. There's no polishing on the bracelet, a little bit on the clasp, but mostly brushed in its finishing. The case back here is a solid case back, but it is embossed really nicely with a diver performing what is known as the Giant Stride, as you can see, and that's where this watch gets its name. There is kind of a slab feel to the side of this watch. Some others have mentioned that as well, but Second Hour is going to be taking care of that. In the production models, they're actually going to be contouring out the bottom of this case to help eliminate that slab feel and also to help with the wearability of this watch. Let's talk about those dual crowns. I love the dual crowns on compressor style dive watches, and these ones are really nicely done. I love the look of them. It's more of a modern style crown, I would say, in the way that they've done the knurling that is there. They're both screw down, both signed, and they're both loomed, which I always enjoy, and we'll take a peek at that in a moment. The bottom crown, of course, as you unscrew it, you can wind the movement. That Sellita SW200 is a hand winding movement. Then the first position will change the date, and then the last position hacks the movement, and you can adjust the time as necessary there, all with that bottom crown. And then the top crown adjusts the inner rotating bezel, and that is bi-directional, and it feels really good. It's not too loose, it's not too stiff, and it operates nicely, and everything lines up well also. So that is great, and we'll screw that back down. All right, now moving on to the dial of this watch. This, I feel, is the star of the show. It's such a unique dial. There is a lot going on here, but everything really flows and fits together really nicely. Let's start off with the inner portion, the innermost section of this dial. You see that there is a nice wave pattern there that is going on. I'm not sure how they perform this and how they manufacture a dial like this, but it is really crisp and it is really clean, and that wave pattern looks really nice. As you move out from there, you get a number of concentric circles where the indices are applied to this watch. That is another texture that is going on here. And speaking of the indices are really nicely done and really nicely applied as well. They have a unique shape to them, and as you can see, some of them are larger than others. The one at 12, the one at 4, and the one at 8 o'clock are slightly larger, and I think this dial just looks great. These are diamond cut indices, and they have a nice depth to them. I'm not sure if it's coming up on camera too good, but really, really nice dial. You get a nice date window, legible at the 6 o'clock position, and the hands are a sword style, and they have something I've never seen before, is red paint on the end of the hour and minute hand. You sometimes see that on the second hand like they have here, but they have it on all three hands, which I think looks pretty cool. The inner rotating bezel is done really nicely. These indices, including the triangle and the numerals, actually have some nice depth to them, and they're filled well with lume also. And speaking of lume, we're going to get a lume shot here in a moment. They're using 8 layers of BGW9 Super Luminova. But before we get a lume shot, I want to mention that the dial will be changed slightly regarding the text. Second hour will be removed, and also giant stride will be removed on the production models, so please keep that in mind. But let me charge this up for a second, shut off the lights, and get a quick lume shot. All right, here's a quick lume shot. You can see there's a nice application of that BGW9 going on here, and if we turn the watch to the side, you can see those dual crowns glowing as well. I always enjoy that, and I think most people do, so that is a nice touch. But great application. It's glowing really, really nicely. All right, let's talk about the bracelet that comes on this watch. It's a nice H-link brushed bracelet. It articulates really well. I found it to be comfortable on the wrist. You do get screw pins for the links that are here, and the clasp is milled, as you can see, just a fold over 2 push button clasp. Another change on the production models is that there will be 4 micro adjusts rather than the 3 that you see here. Also, a hardness coating will be applied, as I mentioned, not just to the case but to the bracelet as well. There is a NATO strap that comes with the watches also, and this one matches that green dial pretty nicely. The only negative that I found on this watch regards the clasp, and it's just a minor thing, but when I run my finger across the logo here, it is a little bit sharp on certain points. Now, it's not going to cut your finger to bleeding or anything like that, but you will catch it, and it might remove just a little dead skin that might be there. So that's the only negative that I found here, and that's regarding the clasp, but it's just a minor thing in my opinion. I'm going to jump back in front of the camera and share my final thoughts about this second hour giant stride. Well, I do have to say that I've enjoyed my time with the giant stride from second hour watches. I am a fan of compressor style dive watches, and Second Hour has not disappointed in giving us a great watch in that category. The dial really gives this watch more of a modern feel, whereas most compressor style watches have more of a vintage feel. So I like that about this watch. And you know, the dial might not be for everybody. Some people might not like all the textures going on and the different shapes, but I for one am a fan of it, and I want to hear your thoughts about the dial down in the comments below. But overall, I really feel this is a solid piece. You get good value for money. You get a Swiss-made Solida movement. The finishing on this watch is really great. The only gripe that I had was that sharp portion on the logo on the clasp, but perhaps that'll be touched up in the production model. You get the hardness coating that is going to be applied on the production models as well. So there's a lot of cool things about this watch that I really feel like it gives it good value for the price tag. But I want to hear what you guys think of it down in the comments below. Please share all your thoughts, ask all your questions down there. I'd love to interact with you. And if you're interested in this piece, it's supposed to drop sometime in September. So all the links to Second Hour's website will be down in the description below if you're interested in this watch. Please, if you enjoyed this video today, give a like. It really helps out our channel. It's the easiest thing to do. Just hit that like button. We really appreciate it. But thanks for tuning in today. That's it for today's video here on the Town Watch. We'll see you next time.